Hi, I'm Daniel Foley, author of 7 Dates with Jesus, Crossing Over into Abundant Life. In the last week's video, we talked about the first two spring feasts, which are Passover and unleavened bread. We talked about how Jesus is your Passover lamb and his blood has set you free, his blood protects you. And we talked about how Jesus is your unleavened bread. He's the bread that came down from heaven. He's unleavened and that he was sinless. And he is righteous, and his righteousness has been credited to your account. He's made peace with God with you. He has made you righteous. We're talking today about the third feast, which is first fruits. Okay, so first fruits is the third feast of Israel. And when I want you to think of third, I want you to think of the third day, resurrection. Jesus came back to life on the third day. Also on the third day of creation, when God created the world, he created all the plants, the trees and the plants and the fruit and seed on that day as well. So I want you to think about seed time and harvest and resurrection. Everything comes back new, so to speak, in the spring. So in this week that we're in, actually right now, you have Passover, unleavened bread, and first fruits actually all happen in this 1 week. They all kind of get lumped together into a 1 week period. Jesus was actually raised from the dead on the day of first fruits. Okay, he is the first fruits from the dead. The Bible tells us, Romans 8:29 says he's the firstborn of many brethren. Jesus is the firstborn from the dead. He is your first fruits. He presented himself to God as the first fruits from the dead. And then one of the big revelations hidden in this feast is that God took the Spirit of Jesus, Galatians 4:6, and he sowed it into your heart. Okay, so you've been born again through an incorruptible seed, as 1 Peter tells us. 2 Peter tells us that everything that you need for life and godliness is already in that seed. So everything you need is already inside of you. So one of the revelations, again, hidden in first fruits, is that God planted a seed. He planted the Spirit of Jesus in your heart. He gave you a new heart. He rolled away. The Bible says we used to have a heart of stone. He gave us a heart of flesh. And he plants the Spirit of Jesus in our hearts. Now we have a part to play in co-laboring with God to cultivate that seed so that Jesus is reproduced in us. Just like an apple seed produces apple trees, the seed of the Spirit of Jesus is supposed to produce Jesus in us, so to speak. So we have a part to play in helping to cultivate that. But one of the things I want you to think about this week is every year during this time of first fruits, okay, is a time that we should be looking to sow seed. So you need to be maybe spending some time getting quiet, asking the Lord, what is the seed? What are the seeds that you want me sowing this year? Okay, because it can set you up to reap a harvest in many different ways later in the year. So you need to be asking God, spending some time seeking him and asking, what is the seed that I need to be sowing during this time of first fruits? Now, something to remember, God always plants his seed internally. He planted it inside of you where he can watch it and he can protect it and he can help to cultivate it. Okay, so how could you plant something that you can watch over and cultivate? As an example, one of the years when I did this, the Lord told me to give a bonus to our staff, and I can watch over that seed and help to cultivate them and help them to grow in that as well. So it'd be something, where can you plant some seed that you can watch over it and you can cultivate it and you can help it to grow? And that's one of the things you need to be thinking about. You can plant internally, could be in your family, could be in your employees, could be somewhere where you can watch it and cultivate that seed. But this week we should be asking the Lord for some guidance and some direction on what that seed is and where it's supposed to be sown, so to speak. So that's part of the revelations that's hidden in first fruits. Remember, it's the third day. Everything comes back to life. Your spirit gets made new as you get the Spirit of Jesus sown into your heart, and you are resurrected through his Spirit, so to speak. And be looking for, what are the seeds that I need to be sowing at this time of the year?